typical pattern. That, give us a call if you have any idea. Please think about it if you must, but please call if you were there. 0500 600 600, or you can call the Instant Room direct. That's on 01 695 566 566, and there are gay police officers there to take calls if you prefer.
We've another rogues gallery of faces for you to take a look at next. The crimes they're wanted for include kidnap, robbery and drugs trafficking. First up, Joshua Carney is wanted for a series of thefts and burglaries around the UK. Originally from Dublin, he's moved around from Lancaster to Jersey. He uses several false names, including Mark Moffat, Devon Daniels and Aaron Wiley. Joshua Carney has an Irish accent, a pierced left ear and a large birthmark on the centre of his back. Detectives say he's friendly and articulate, so beware. He can easily charm families and children into trusting him.
James Walter Tompkins has been charged with robbery and impersonating a customs officer, but he failed to answer bail. He has receding grey hair and speaks with a South London accent. He may have links in Hammersmith and Fulham and has been known to work as a market trader.
Mark Thwelwell is suspected of being involved in a large-scale drugs trafficking gang in Bristol. He's wanted for importing cocaine worth over £100,000 from Jamaica. He has a young family in the Bristol area, but he may be living in London. He's got a very prominent scar across his forehead, which he covers up by wearing a baseball cap. He may be better known to some by his street name, Trucks, and he's very well spoken with a West Indian accent.
John Charles Moorcroft is wanted for kidnap and robbery. In June last year, he was involved in a hijack of a lorry in Selby, North Yorkshire, in which £70,000 worth of confectionery was stolen. He was arrested for the offence, but hasn't answered bail. He's also wanted for a serious aggravated burglary in Merseyside. Moorcroft speaks with a Liverpool accent. He has a scar on his left eyebrow and a tattoo of a cannabis leaf on his left arm. It's believed he might be living in the Kirby area of Merseyside.
And do you know the whereabouts of Anthony John Brooks? He really is a one-man crime wave, and my colleagues across 33 police areas want to talk to him. Here he is in 4 different banks in the Thames Valley region, using other people's cards to obtain cash. In one 2-day period, he obtained £60,000. Help us put a stop to his antics. Call 0500 600 600 if you can help with any of these cases.
Our next case is close to home for us at the BBC. The victim was Tom Brown, who worked here at Television Centre in the Information and Archive Department, which is somewhere in the years I've been here I've called frequently. Tom was stabbed to death a month ago, just before his 28th birthday. Anne Harris is Tom's mother, John is his brother, and leading the murder inquiry is Detective Chief Inspector Keith Garnish. Anne, what can you tell me about Tom?
I think a mother doesn't know everything about a young man in his late 20s, but he was lovely, a lovely son. He was kind and he was honourable and he was generous. And nothing that I've learnt about him since can shake that view, that he was decent, that he was honourable, and that he lived to a code that was his own, but strictly moral. He was a free spirit. He was going to live his life according to his rules, and they were good rules, and he did. And I think that at the time of his death, his life was opening for him with his job, a new house he was buying with his brother here, and he's been taken from us.
And John, you, as your mum says there, you were going to buy a flat together, weren't you?
Yeah, we'd been arranging to buy this flat, for months. It's almost since the beginning of end of last year, and we finally got it sorted. And we were literally 2 weeks away from completing. We would have moved, in 2 weeks, and been out of Southgate, and it wouldn't have happened.
And what can you tell us about what happened the night he was killed?
He'd been out to the pub with his friends. They'd stayed drinking in the pub till closing time. One of his friends lived close by, so they decided to go back to his house. They carried on socialising at his house. About 3 o'clock-ish, it decided, that Tom decided to go home. He was offered a place, a bed for the night at his friend's, but he said he'd rather go home and sleep in his own bed. It was about a 20-minute walk. So he walked home, and 150 yards away from the front door, he was attacked.
Keith, what could be the motive for this attack? It seems to have come completely out of the blue.
Yes, this is the unfortunate thing about this attack. It is a violent and unprovoked attack. We know there are no defence wounds on Tom, and we don't think he'd had any chance to try and defend himself. We rule out robbery at this stage because all his personal property was still on him. His bus pass, money were all in his pockets.
What about the knife? Have you recovered the knife from the attack?
No, we haven't recovered the knife at the moment. That's one thing we're obviously appealing to the public, that any knives that are found in the area that are handed to the police.
Now, there's one man you want to appeal to tonight in particular who came on the scene after Tom was stabbed.
Yes, this is the gentleman who initially rang the ambulance. This is a man, we've been described as a black man in an executive-style car. He rang 999, stayed at the phone box until the ambulance arrived and directed them to Tom. He then left. We've now got the 999 tape to play, so that person, and hopefully people will recognise this gentleman's voice, because we desperately need to see him and speak to him, because he may be a vital witness.
OK, well, let's take a listen to that tape now.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, about 100 yards from this telephone box, there's a man lying on the floor.
What road is he on?
Green Acre Walk.
Green Acre Walk. What's the problem there?
I don't know. I'm just driving past and I saw this man lying on the floor.
He's lying on the ground.
By the bus stop, not far from the bus stop.
There's also a nightclub worker who walked past Tom after, as it now turns out, after he'd been killed.
Yes, he walked past Tom and saw him laying in the street and thought he was drunk. And what he says to us at the same stage, there was sitting very close to where Tom lay, was a man and a woman sitting on a wall. And again, we need to speak to these individuals, because again, they may be important witnesses for us and able to tell us who else was in the street at that time.
And what about the man at the minicab office? What about him?
Yes, at the Crown minicab office, a man went up, asked for a cigarette, which he was given, and then engaged in some unusual conversation.
He was behaving very strangely, wasn't he? They thought he might be on drink or on drugs or something.
Yeah, that's correct, and spoke about working for his daughter. We've got an e-fit of him, and if you recognise this person, please ring us.
And finally, two men who were seen running along Meadway, wasn't it?
Yes, very close to the scene, 100 yards away. Noticeable, one of them in very white training shoes or shoes. Is that you? Do you know who they are? Please ring us and let me know if that means anything to you, those two individuals.
And Anne, what would you say to anyone who might be able to help tonight, who might be reluctant to make that call to come forward?
There have been so many tragedies recently, so many families affected. They seem universal, but believe me, the grief that each of these families feels is agonising. Whoever did it must have been very evil or very sick. Please, please, help the police in every way you can, so that more families don't go through what my family is going through at this moment.
Okay.
The loss of a super brother, a super son.
Okay, well, Anne and John, thank you both very much, and Keith, you. This was a totally unprovoked attack. Help catch whoever killed Tom before they strike again. The police have put up a £20,000 reward for information leading to a conviction. The number's 0500 600 600, or the instant room in Barking on 020 8345 3715.
Let's see what more results we can get before the programme ends. It's about 12 minutes to 10 yet, so there's still time for that. Our next criminal that we're after, though, is known as the granddad of Conman. He's 64, we know his name, we know what he looks like. What we don't know is where is he tonight?
There's a gentleman standing over there. I think I'll go and have a word with him. Hello.
Hello, my darling.
You're new here, are you? Do you want to come in?
Well, I've just been working in the area and I thought I'd pop in and see what was going on in here.
Oh, it's a club we meet every Tuesday. Do you want to come and have a cup of tea?
Oh, I'd love to, darling. Yes, thank you very much.
Sorry, what did you say your name was? Could I have
Peter.
a cup of tea?
Peter Gold.
Cup of tea for Peter. What's your line of business then?
Well, I used to work for Ealing Council, but
yes.
I just do a few odd jobs now in the district, you know, for old people. Bit of plumbing, bit of decorating.
Oh, are you a plumber?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I've got such trouble with my central heating. He's making a terrible knocking noise.
Central heating, no problem, darling.
Oh, it would be wonderful if you could come and have a look at it for me.
How long does this go on for?
Well, we'd be packing up in about 10 minutes, I suppose.
Well, I tell you what, I'll hang around here for you and I'll walk you home and then we can have a look around your house. I can see what jobs you need doing. I'll give you an estimate. I'll have it done for you next week if you like.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Great.
Wonderful.
So how long have you been coming here then, Liz?
Donkey's years.
What do you mean, donkey's years? How old are you?
Oh, I'm 79.
79? I don't believe you. What, with a pair of legs on you like that and you're a snappy dresser, I reckon you could pass for 65 easily.
Go on,
No, honest, I'm not pulling you.
It was a 5 or 10 minute walk and we arrived at about 12:10. Come on in and I'll show you where the boiler is.
You could make me a cup of tea first, could you?
Oh, all right, yes. How do you like your tea?
Oh, black with no sugar, please.
OK.
Oh, lovely house you've got here, Liz.
Yes, well, I mean, it's nice and sunny.
How many bedrooms have you got?
2.
You've lived here all your life, then?
Oh, no, we've been here quite a while, but...
Oh, I can see some jobs over there in the kitchen that need doing.
Oh, I know. But it's not that that's really worrying me. It's the boiler.
Oh, these. Hey, I've got certificates for working on these.
He told me he was 65. He was bald on top, with a fat face and small brown eyes, clean shaven, bad teeth, and he had a faded tattoo on the back of his left wrist. I brought my bag out because I expect you'll want a bit of money for the work that's got to be done.
I never carry any cash around with me. I can never remember my PIN number. I've got a new mobile phone and I've put my PIN numbers in there so I couldn't remember them. Oh. How do you remember your PIN number?
Well, I put them in the back of my black address book, disguised as a phone number.
You're not just a pretty face, are you?
So how much money do you think you'll need?
Well, you couldn't spare 120 quid, could you?
Well, I went to the bank today to get some money for my holiday. Spending money.
Oh, well, if you're sure that's all right.
Well, the work's got to be done.
OK, then. Well, there's no time like the present. Right. I'll be gone about a couple of hours. Make me a cheese sandwich, will you?
I made the cheese sandwich and waited for him, but he never came back.
Stephen Johnson went off with the cash, then also withdrew £300 from her account.
Hello. I used to do a bit of gardening for her.
Did you?
Hang on. Haven't I done some work for you?
No, I don't think so, no.
I'm sure I have. Don't you remember, back 2 years ago, I used to come round with my son. He's a local policeman.
Can't
Did a bit
say.
of work for me in his time off.
My bus, sorry.
Oh, it's mine as well. Do you mind if I sit here?
Of course not.
Yeah, I remember your place. Got a few hanging baskets.
That's right. Well, I used to have them, but they've been let go now because I just can't get up the ladders to water them.
Well, you know, that's the sort of job I could do for you.
Really? Is that your trade?
Yes, I do a lot of work for Age Concern. Not that you'd come in that category, of course, darling. Yeah, I can do a bit of work like that for you. Where do you live?
Well, in fact, I live just round the corner. In fact, this is my stop here.
Oh, funnily enough, I live just round the corner there.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh,
So
well,
I'll tell you what,
fantastic.
I'll come round with you now and
Okay,
have a
well,
look at-
I'll show you the things that need doing. It's so difficult getting help these days.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do any odd jobs, do they?
Don't you worry, you're in safe hands now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
I've dreamed of meeting somebody like you.
Yes, I've done lots of gardens round.
She too was conned out of money, in her case £200. So what's he up to now? If you know the whereabouts of our Stephen Johnson, give us a call here, please. Free to the studio, 0500 600 600. You can call the Instant Room if you prefer in Ealing, West London on 020 8246 9138.
Now, it never ceases to amaze me what some people will steal, but this must take the biscuit. On Monday, the 26th of April, a hot tub, just like this, full of water, was stolen from the back garden of Tony Hill's house in Bournemouth. Tony, when did you notice it had gone?
Well, I came home from work and had a really hard day and I thought I'd just chill out in a hot tub. And I couldn't believe it. I went in the back garden and it's gone.
And you must have thought you were dreaming. I mean, how much would something like this weigh?
About 5 tonnes.
5 tonnes. So, Susie, how did they take it?
A male was seen to pull up in a flatbed hire lorry with a black crane on the back of it and pull up alongside the back fence of Mr Hill's garden. The crane was then lifted over the fence, picked up the hot tub and hoisted onto the back of the lorry and off they went.
And presumably people must have seen this going on.
Plenty of people saw it but thought nothing of it because it was midday and it was just
They thought it must be legit because it was so audacious.
It was so brazen, absolutely, yeah.
And then what would you do with something like this if you've nicked it? I mean, would it have been sold on? Would someone have kept it for personal use?
Absolutely no idea, really. I mean, I'd keep it for personal use myself, but...
And then to take it full of water as well, why not empty it out? That would have been much easier,
It would have taken too much time. It would have taken about an hour to have emptied it, so...
So you decided to take the whole thing?
Yep.
Well, the tub in question is a Sundance Cameo Spa. If you can help us put the splash back into Tony's life, call us here on 0500 600 600.
News on the lorry hijack in Croydon. We've had lots of calls suggesting location for the barn, and a name was given to detectives to follow up. On the murder of Felicity Pageant in Portsmouth, 2 callers have given us the same name. We've also had a number of calls in relation to the Tom Brown murder, saying the accent of the 999 caller is in fact West African and not West Indian, as we first believed.
I can tell you a little bit more about that deliberate running over of Kate Sheedy. Firstly, we've heard that there may be a similar attack took place in Croydon 2 or 3 weeks ago. We've also had a caller who's seen a white people carrier the day after Kate's was attacked with damage to the front parked in his street. So that's obviously going to be looked at pretty fast. We've got even more on the Croydon lorry hijack. I have to say on that one, it is just astonishing how many plasma screen televisions are on sale for cash around the country for one reason or another. Somebody suggested that maybe we ought to find out what the numbers of our own plasma screens here are. Make sure they're not nicked as well. I'm sure they're not. We've had interesting sighting of the Conman, who's been posing as a barrister. Sightings in the West Country, which we might tell you a little bit more about when we come back later on tonight. All the incident room numbers, if you've still got information you can give us, are on CFAX on page 61. 621, that is. You can see a reminder of some of tonight's cases, and there's crime prevention advice and more at bbc.co.uk/crime. Our phone lines here are open until midnight tonight, and then again from 7:30 in the morning tomorrow until midnight, and again on Thursday.
Now, what's the point of working on a programme like Crime Watch if you can't appeal about your own crime? My bike was nicked yesterday. It was 5 to 12. It's black with a child's seat on the back. If it was you, you know who you are, and I'd like it back. Next month's programme will be on Thursday, the 28th of October. We'll be asking for help in finding a brutal attacker in Bromley.
We'll be back in about 35 minutes, 10:35 with Crime Watch Update. If you can't join us till then, remember, crimes we feature are very rare, so don't have nightmares unless you stole her bike. Sleep well. Good night.
Good night.
the States, they're spending 15 times more per head than we are.
This isn't the IRA. We don't know who they are, we don't know where they are. There's no single cell.
My officers trained as firemen. Now they're expected to be the front line in your war on terror.
A large bomb hidden in a van was detonated at Liverpool Street Station.
The threat is real, the responsibility is everyone's. Dirty War, Sunday at 9 on BBC One.
An expert in poisons, she plotted horrific crimes and knew everything about murder. But what do we know about her? Told for the first time in her own words, the mysterious story of Agatha Christie, A Life in Pictures. Tomorrow at 9 on BBC Two.
Paralympic Games, every weeknight at 6 on BBC Two and updates throughout the day on BBC Radio 5 Live. Legends will be rewritten.
Now on BBC One, Hugh Edwards and Matt Barbette with the 10 o'clock news.
Reports from Iraq tonight say that the second American hostage has been murdered. And the British hostage, Kenneth Bigley, will also be killed, say the terrorists, unless their demands are met. His family appeal for help.
Prime Minister, we as a family are begging you, please help us.
We'll have the latest reports from Baghdad, also tonight. Mr. Bush tells the United Nations to give more help to rebuild Iraq. In Haiti, at least 700 people have died after the tropical storm. And for the first time in a century, the Great Bustard is back in Britain.
In BBC London News, underground but above inflation. Details of the fare rises planned for our public transport. And the secrets in a shopping bag. Terror evacuation plans found on a train.
Good evening. Jack Hensley, an American worker held hostage in Iraq since last week, is reported to have been murdered by his captors. The news came through just a few hours ago on an Islamist website. His fellow American hostage, Eugene Armstrong, was killed yesterday. The terrorists warned tonight that Kenneth Bigley, the British hostage, would also be killed unless their demands were met. James Robbins has the latest.
My name is Jack.
Jack Hensley is married with a 13-year-old daughter. Now there are reports this second American has been murdered, and the Al-Zarqawi group has said that British hostage Ken Bigley will be killed if their demands are not met. Jack Hensley had been working as a contractor installing equipment at this American base. Positive work, said his wife, making a final appeal for his life.
These were three very kind, benevolent men who were just trying to help the Iraqi people. They had no hidden agendas for why they were there other than to restore life to these people as they deserve.
This is the man believed to be leading the murder gang, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. The CIA says it's convinced from voice recognition he personally beheaded last night's victim, Eugene Armstrong. At home in Liverpool, Ken Bigley's family must now confront tonight's new threat to kill him. Earlier, they had turned on Tony Blair, accusing him of failing to act.
The Prime Minister is a father. He has children. I'm a child. I have a father. He has the power to make a decision, and we ask him to help us.
If nothing is done, then the two remaining captives will die by the most horrific means. The only person we can now beg to help us is the Prime Minister. Who else can we ask? There's nobody.
Tony Blair is clear there can be no deals, no negotiation. These pictures of him yesterday angered the family. Why was he not 100% focused on their plight? Today, the Prime Minister phoned the Bigley family. No one, he said, could comprehend their agony, but there were limits to what the government could do.
On Al Arabiya satellite television, the public face of British efforts to free Ken Bigley. From the Foreign Office in London, spokesman Dean McLaughlin tells viewers, especially in Baghdad, the response to his first appeal for information was very encouraging. But it hasn't led to the kidnappers' hideout yet. Another appeal, a religious one, has been made by the Christian and Muslim community in Liverpool.
No civilization allows it, that those who are in your power, under your control, that you should kill them in cold blood. And that's why we're appealing to them that this should not happen.
And in the Walton area of Liverpool, a prayer vigil tonight. The rector passed on latest terrible reports from Baghdad, while close by in their home, the Bigley family confront their anguish. James Robbins, BBC News.
The first foreign hostages in Iraq were seized earlier this year, and today dozens of people are being held by groups who threaten to kill their captives if their demands are not met. Ben Brown reports now on the hostage crisis in Iraq and its wider effects.
It was in April when we first started to see the ghastly spectacle of foreign hostages cowering from their kidnappers. These Japanese were eventually freed, but again and again such images have caused worldwide revulsion. For the gunmen, though, they work. They make maximum impact in the media, and they spread terror inside Iraq. Who are the hostages? Well, there have been about 100 of them so far. Not only Americans and Europeans, but many from the Middle East and Asia. Anyone seen to be working with the coalition. Of those seized, 29 have now been murdered. Another 29 are still missing. Now, mostly the victims are contractors, truck drivers, construction engineers, security guards, aid workers and journalists. As for the kidnappers, they're usually Sunni Muslims in this area of central Iraq. They operate alongside Arab fighters from abroad. Recently, they've been getting bolder, seizing people from their homes in broad daylight. Their aim is to drive coalition forces out of Iraq.
They found that hostage-taking is a highly effective method of striking terror into the very people who are trying to rebuild the country. Obviously, it's in their interests for the reconstruction effort to be hampered or even ruined.
Sometimes the kidnappers' demands have been met. The Filipino government, for example, agreed to pull its troops out of Iraq in July. Contractors are leaving too. Today, one Turkish company stopped work in exchange for the lives of its kidnapped employees. The net result, post-war reconstruction in Iraq is slowing down as the foreign community shrinks.
It makes reconstruction very difficult, and there is obviously a great threat to international staff who've come to Iraq for one reason only, to try and help the Iraqi people recover after the trauma that they have suffered.
And today more suffering. Yet another car bomb exploded in Baghdad, wounding several American soldiers and Iraqi civilians. Hundreds of people die each month in the violence here, but the kidnappers know that killing a single foreign hostage can grab them as many headlines around the world. Ben Brown, BBC News.
Well, let's go to Baghdad and talk to our correspondent there, Nicholas Witchell. Nick, after this second American murder in just 24 hours, we note that the terrorists are still sticking to their main demand, aren't they?
They are. They appear to be. Who knows, Hugh, what's in the minds of these people? Why have they left the British hostage, Kenneth Bigley, until last? The demand appears to be the same for the release of women prisoners, but plainly that is a demand that Britain cannot deliver, even if it wanted to, which it emphatically does not. Tony Blair saying there will be no concessions, no negotiation. But the fact that it is the British hostage of the three who is left inevitably will focus attention on the British government, will increase the pressure inevitably on Mr Blair and his government as the people plainly who have brought Britain into all of this.
Nick, we note too that there is no mention of a deadline in tonight's statement, apparently referring to Mr Bigley. Do we dare read anything into that?
I think it's awfully difficult. There is no explicit reference to a deadline. Are we to assume that it is simply a continuation of what they set out last night? That is another period of 24 hours. Let us not forget that by tomorrow morning, Kenneth Bigley will have been captive for 6 days with the threat of this grotesque means of death hanging over him, seeing his two colleagues taken away, knowing one must assume their fate. that there really are not words to describe or imagine how it must be for him.
Nick Witchell in Baghdad, thank you very much. President Bush has told the United Nations it must do more to help make Iraq a secure and democratic country. But the UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan, who said last week that the invasion of Iraq was illegal, pointedly told world leaders that countries which invoke the rule of law should foster it at home and abroad. From New York, here's Bridget Kendall.
Unmistakably the arrival of the most powerful leader in the world, back at the United Nations to confront his critics.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Looking tense but determined as he arrived, and once on the podium, defiant as ever for toppling governments in Afghanistan and Iraq, however much turmoil has followed.
These regimes destabilize one of the world's most vital and most volatile regions. They brutalize their peoples in defiance of all civilized norms. Today, the Iraqi and Afghan people are on the path to democracy and freedom.
And now, fighting the terror threat in Iraq, he argued, should be everyone's business, because there was no safe isolation from terrorist networks.
Terrorists know the stakes in that country. They know that a free Iraq in the heart of the Middle East will be a decisive blow against their ambitions for that region. So a terrorist group associated with Al-Qaeda is now one of the main groups killing the innocent in Iraq today.
And a grim pledge that though the bloodshed may worsen, his resolve wouldn't weaken.
We can expect terrorist attacks to escalate as Afghanistan and Iraq approach national elections. The work ahead is demanding. The proper response to difficulty is not to retreat. It is to prevail.
Clearly a taxing performance, facing an audience where from the UN chief downwards there's been blunt criticism of US policy. Only days ago, Kofi Annan called Mr. Bush's invasion of Iraq illegal. The two still shook hands today, but the Secretary-General's own speech, lamenting the rise of lawlessness across the world, had barbed criticisms of America.
The rule of law starts at home. But in too many places, it remains elusive. At times, even the necessary fight against terrorism is allowed to encroach unnecessarily on civil liberties.
What it felt like here at the United Nations today was the clash of two ideologies. For Kofi Annan, it's the rule of law that will solve the world's ills. For George Bush, it's the transforming power of freedom. Two visions, and the danger is the potential gap between them. Bridget Kendall, BBC News, at the United Nations.
Let's go to Washington and talk to Justin Webb at the White House. Justin, important to point out straight away that Mr. Bush's audience today, of course, wasn't just comprised of the world leaders there.
His audience, frankly, the audience he cared about, I don't think this is putting it too strongly, was not those world leaders at all. The audience was the audience in America. We are 6 weeks away from the election, and Iraq, for the first time, has become the top issue in the American election. John Kerry, the Democratic challenger, is now the anti-war candidate. President Bush is making the same case, was making the same case today in New York that he makes right around this country. Yes, it is a very simple case. Yes, it is an optimistic case. The White House would not apologize for either of those things. It is a challenge delivered today to the UN General Assembly, but a challenge really to the American people. Stick by this president. It'll come out all right in the end.
Well, despite those bold words, it's of course been a dreadful day again for the Americans in Iraq, to say the least. How is this beginning to translate into wider campaign issues?
This is the opportunity that John Kerry could seize. If the news from Iraq continues to be grim over the next 6 weeks, if there is a major catastrophe, either the deaths of a large number of American troops or perhaps the assassination of Prime Minister Alawi, then things could really change here, and suddenly the American people, who frankly have been ambivalent about the war for some time, may well decide to go to the Kerry camp and decide on some kind of fresh start. But I think the betting has to be still that simple message from the President, stick with us, we are being tested, we should not show weakness, that is the message at the moment which seems more likely to win through on November the 2nd.
Justin, many thanks. An extensive rescue operation is underway in Haiti, where at least 700 people have died in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Jean. Aid workers expect the number of dead to rise. The storm hit Haiti at the weekend, causing flooding and mudslides. Worst affected was the town of Gonaïves in the north of the island, where 80% of homes are flooded. Our correspondent Jeremy Cook is in Haiti. Some of his report was sent to us by videophone.
A Caribbean island transformed into a sodden, deadly landscape. 170,000 Haitians lived in the city of Gonaïves. From the air, it's clear that many of their homes are now destroyed or submerged under the mudslides and floodwaters, which have brought disaster to an entire community. All this the result of Tropical Storm Jean, which battered the island of Hispaniola over the weekend. The winds caused widespread damage, but it was the torrential rain which cost so many lives. With hundreds dead, the city morgue is full. Desperate survivors are now leaving bodies outside in the streets. The heat and humidity means the threat of disease is self-evident. The UN is already planning mass graves. Haiti's president has asked for urgent, large-scale international aid. Some is beginning to arrive overland and by helicopter, but it's clear that more is needed, and soon. Food and water will be a priority here, so too will be setting up a medical field station. All of Gonaïves' hospitals lie damaged and useless under floodwater. As the aid operation gathers momentum, there are already pledges of support from the UN and European Union. For now then, the priority must be getting aid to the tens of thousands of people who so desperately need it. In the coming days, the floodwaters will recede, and only then will we get a true picture of the number of people who've died here and a real indication of the scale of this disaster. Jeremy Cook, BBC News, Haiti.
And still to come on tonight's programme. Native Americans are celebrating. A new museum is opened in their honour. And England's cricketers secure a one-day win, a pretty rare one, over Australia for the first time in 5 years. In Washington, thousands of Native Americans have been celebrating the opening of a stunning new museum dedicated to their history and culture. 15 years after the original plans were set out, the Smithsonian Institution's American Indian Museum opened its doors today, and Matt Fry was there too.
The Blackfeet Nation, not under the pristine skies of Montana, but in Washington. They and 500 other tribes have come to claim their place on the grand stage of America's capital, the Mall, a sweeping parade ground of ministries and museums, now with its latest edition. After 10,000 years of history, of which the last 400 have spelled near extinction, it's about time America's oldest people had their own museum. The project has been nurtured by the man in the headdress. A chief from the Northern Cheyenne, he also happens to be a U.S. senator with his own tribe of minders.
We think that it's time for us to tell our story to the world, because in the past, olden times, they didn't have a written language. So most of the stories you read about Indians were written by non-Indians, and many of them were very derogatory or very, they were negative stories.
It is certainly the biggest gathering of Native Americans in recent history. They've come here to celebrate a living culture and to see a building which they regard as a monument to America's oldest and perhaps least understood people. Designed by Native Americans, run by them, and financed with millions of dollars from casinos, the new industry of choice in the reservations. We spoke to Dwayne Blue Spruce, one of the architects. What's the inspiration of this building?
It's a natural rock formation that's been carved by wind and water over time. And in a lot of Native communities, natural elements or monuments, for example, mountains and lakes and rivers, they're very important to Native communities. And so we felt this building should pick up on that idea.
Spectacular from outside and inside. Whether you want to get face-to-face with a tribal mask or not, the building itself is worth a visit. Back on the street, I met a man who told me what it all means.
I'm a medicine man and also chief of the Natchez Cherokee, and so I honor the wolf and the eagle. And we're here enjoying this place so that people can see that we still have wolves and we still have eagles and we still have Indians.
Almost 3 million of them in the United States, now with a place they can call their own in the heart of the capital. Matt Fry, BBC News, Washington.
The government has sent letters to more than 4,000 people who may have been exposed to the human form of mad cow disease, variant CJD. Patients, who are mostly haemophiliacs, have all received blood plasma products that could have been contaminated. Officials say it is a precautionary measure and the risk is very small. A 69-year-old woman has been given a lengthy prison sentence for abusing children in her care over 20 years ago. Margaret Hewitt was a residential care worker at a Barnardo's home near Belfast. A former colleague, George Anderson, was given 18 years for what the judge described as revolting activities. The management of Barnardo's was also heavily criticised, as Dennis Marina reports.
George Anderson, aged 46, sentenced to 18 years on 17 charges of child abuse, including 2 counts of rape. Margaret Hewitt, aged 69, sentenced to 11 years on 53 charges. Seen here at an earlier hearing with a member of her legal team, the children at the Barnardo's home called her Evil Eye. One of her victims, after sentencing today, called her the Bride of Satan. This is how they looked in the late 1970s, when they began their reign of fear, abuse and sexual torment. They abused 8 children, some of them less than 10 years old. It all happened at the Macedon home on the north shore of Belfast Lough. It was closed more than 20 years ago and the building was flattened. None of their victims had any sympathy for a 69-year-old going to jail.
No, because she wasn't a 69-year-old woman when she was committing these crimes, and he wasn't whatever age he is now when he was doing it. He knew what he was doing, so justice has been done.
I have a battle inside me every day of my life. It will never go away. But I mean, this here, it's my power. It's all about taking power back and control back, and just telling people this happened in a car system that I was supposed to be protected and I wasn't being protected.
Where the